In an early iPlayer release of EastEnders, Zack Hudson faces a pivotal moment after a night of missteps, including attempting to kiss Whitney's friend Lauren. Fearing Whitney's discovery, Zack seeks advice from his boss and pleads with Lauren to keep quiet. The drama unfolds as Zack tries to salvage his relationship and impending fatherhood. Meanwhile, EastEnders' portrayal of Milton Keynes in recent episodes draws criticism from residents, who find the depiction of their city as a rundown area with negative stereotypes both rude and inaccurate. EastEnders' Zack Hudson faces game-changing dilemma in early iPlayer release. What will Zack do now? Zack Hudson was hit with yet another big dilemma as a dramatic week came to a close on EastEnders. The father-to-be returned to Walford without pregnant partner Whitney Dean when she opted to stay in Milton Keynes to look out for teenager Brittany Wainwright, who she wants to foster. The couple remained at odds, and a drunk Zack made matters worse when he tried to kiss Whit's best friend Lauren Branning. The morning after, Lauren blanked Zack, who confided in boss Ravi Gulati that Whitney was expecting his baby, and that he had just made a pass at her mate. Zack feared Whit finding out, but given no kiss had actually happened, Ravi urged him to ask Lauren to keep quiet. In the cafe, Lauren revealed she hadn't yet spoken to Whitney, and Zack pleaded with her not to say anything about his error of judgment. Lauren pointed out that Zack could have spent the night with Penny Branning if she hadn't intervened, so what was to stop him straying behind Whit's back? Zack vowed that would never happen, and insisted that he couldn't lose his little family. After saying she would think about what he had told her, Lauren was disgusted when she arrived at Walford East to witness Chef Zack seemingly flirting with a female customer. Zack dismissed this as banter, but Lauren was fuming as she prepared to spill the beans to her longtime friend. Ravi gave Zack the rest of the day off, advising him to tell Whitney the truth himself and in person, but first, Zack visited late baby daughter Peach's tree. Telling Peach that she was going to be a big sister, he revealed that he had messed up with Whitney and planned to put things right. Meanwhile, Lauren updated Penny on Zack's mistake, and Penny told her that she was overreacting and that telling Whit might cause her to go into early labor. Given food for thought, Lauren caught up with Zack just as he was leaving for Milton Keynes. She explained that for the sake of Whitney and the baby, she had decided not to say anything after all, providing he behaved from now on. Relieved, Zack assured Lauren that he loved Whitney, before confirming that he would agree to foster Brittany just to keep Whit happy. Lauren warned Zack against doing so when his heart clearly wasn't in it, as Brittany deserved more than that. "You and Whit, you've bonded over this really traumatic stuff," Lauren added, referencing their loss of Peach, before discussing the baby they now had on the way. Lauren said that Zack and Whitney obviously didn't want the same things, and urged him not to rush into anything. With Whitney due to make her exit very soon, will Zack come to realize that he and Whitney don't have a future as a couple? Actress McGarty recently shared that EastEnders would air with drama, deceit and chaos in Whitney's story, and it's safe to say that all three have very much been at the forefront of this week's episodes. So just how will Whit's final scenes play out? EastEnders fans in Milton Keynes take aim at soap. Seeing your hometown featured on TV would usually be a source of pride, but not for Milton Keynes residents who tuned into EastEnders this week. The BBC One soap featured scenes set in the city. One child character living there was described in an episode as not being in school and instead was roaming the estate, carting drugs around, eating out of bins. EastEnders fans living in Milton Keynes want their voices heard too. No roundabouts or concrete cows. Carl Downey, 28, who has watched EastEnders since he was 4 years old, said he was excited to see the return of character Bianca Jackson in the two-part special. But he said he was disappointed to see how the show depicted us. Don't get me wrong, as with all towns and cities, Milton Keynes has its nicer and less than savory areas, but for show producers to decide to film all of Milton Keynes' scenes on a rundown council estate in the North London borough of Barnet was a bit insulting. The self-described hardcore fan said the episode gave Milton Keynes the image of being some ex-communist republic of the 1990s. Mr. Downey said the show could have featured the city's brutalist and modern architecture and green spaces, and joked that it could have included its delivery robots, concrete cows, and abundance of roundabouts. He added, "I will continue watching, but would prefer Milton Keynes to look more like Milton Keynes, and for Walford to look more like the East End of London." Absolutely disgusted for 69-year-old EastEnders fan Lena Chilvers, the real drama was her own reaction in her living room. "I was so angry, I was absolutely disgusted, it's just so rude," she said, in response to the depiction. To actually single out a real place and portray it as the awful area they did, with kids running around the streets, drug addicts, the whole episode was so disgusting. Ms. Chilvers has lived in the city for 40 years and hopes other fans of the soap will visit the place for themselves. She said, "For me it's open and green, it's attractive and it's got everything you need in city. I live near Stony Stratford. I love that I can walk from a brand new house into an old town. I've got everything old and new." Leslie Scott, 70, has lived in the Milton Keynes area for 18 years and said the city gets a rough deal all the time and that it actually has everything you want apart from the sea. "It's not realistic. Girls eating out of dustbins, that's just typical EastEnders," she commented. Very insulted Joan Shaw, who has spent 36 years in Milton Keynes, said, "Quite honestly, I was infuriated and felt very insulted. It was so negative and so untrue of Milton Keynes. It is not run down but a beautiful place to live." She argued the city continued to go from strength to strength with major businesses such as Red Bull, Santander and Volkswagen basing their UK headquarters in the city. Scenes set in the fictional town of Walford are usually filmed at Elstree Studio in Borehamwood, Hertfordshire, about an hour down the M1 from Milton Keynes. Please subscribe our channel.